To mic him up, or will you just pick it up?
No, it picks up the sound. I've tested that. It's pretty good. Ready when you're.
Let me just.
Billy can hold that up.
Yeah, that's fine. Go. Put it there.
You sure?
Fine, yeah.
Yep, go for it.
Championship Manager 2008 had a look at the management contenders for the England position, and we've got John Gregory here to give us a bit of a lowdown on some of the contenders. So, John, Jose Mourinho is coming out on top of the Championship Manager ratings. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, certainly on. Some of the qualifications are ability, potential, management, motivational skills, tactics, and so on and so forth. And he ticks every box for me. Certainly, his record is quite phenomenal at Chelsea. The ability to win matches, the ability to win trophies, and all the players seem to speak very highly of him. I know that he was very popular with the players. They had a real close bond with the lads, and yeah, I mean, he's come out top in your little poll, or should I say in your big poll, and I think also with a lot of England fans would suggest that Mourinho would be a class act. I think whether or not he'd actually take the job, I think is another thing, because I think he's still got club football. I think he could still go and walk into possibly the Madrid job next summer, or the Barcelona job next summer. Certainly any of the Italian jobs that he wanted. He's got the ability to speak Spanish, Italian. So I think he can take any job really that he wanted. So it might be a little bit too soon. It's almost like semi-retirement, I always think. When you're going into international management, it's almost like semi-retirement, because the job doesn't actually entail a 24/7 sort of mentality. So might be a bit soon for him, but certainly he ticks all the boxes.
And if we were looking closer to home for an English manager, Harry Redknapp comes out particularly well also with our stats.
Yeah, again, one thing that might be levelled at Harry is, what's he won, which tends to be what a lot of the critics pick up on, and the sceptics is like, what has he won? He's not won a championship. I don't think he's ever won the FA Cup as a manager. That kind of stuff they would level at him, but I think he's done an amazing job at both Portsmouth and West Ham before on very limited budgets. He's bought at the lower end of the market, but he's produced some very entertaining and successful teams. And I think if he got the opportunity to work with the quality players that England undoubtedly have, for me, he would be the ideal choice if we were to choose an Englishman.
In terms of trophies, Steve McLaren had a League Cup to his name and was a young English manager.
Yes.
Do you think we should go to someone with more experience and more pedigree and track record of winning things?
Possibly not worry too much about the winning of things, but I think age for me is, as I said, it's almost like a semi-retirement job, because it's not too daunting, it's not too big a task physically for somebody. You meet your players once every 2 months or whatever it is. You play 7 or 8 games a year, as opposed to playing sort of 55 and upwards as a Premiership manager. Involved in Carling Cup, FA Cup, European competition, as well as your own Premier League. I think it's for a wiser head, somebody that can deal with the media as well. This is where, as I said, I think Harry, as an Englishman, if we were to choose an Englishman, for me, has got all the right credentials. He's the right age as well. I think with Steve won a Carling Cup, which was a phenomenal achievement with Middlesbrough. To have won that trophy that season when the likes of Arsenal, Manchester United, and Liverpool were overcome that year, and they did very well in Europe. He did well in the UEFA Cup with Middlesbrough the following season, and that was really the credentials on which he got the England job. But I still think Steve was very young for that particular role, and I still sort of see this as an older man's job.
So England won't be in Austria and Switzerland, but there'll be 16 nations there, lots of fantastic young players. Lots of them we'll know from the Premiership and La Liga and Serie A, but there'll be lots of new names for us too. Who would you recommend we look out for next summer?
Well, I think we've already seen one or two as recently as last Wednesday at Wembley. We saw a 22-year-old Modric playing in the centre of midfield. He wore the number 10 shirt for Croatia. And he basically controlled the match, certainly the second half. Couldn't get the ball off him. I know that he plays for Dinamo Zagreb, who are head and shoulders above everybody else in the Croatian league this year. Little Olic as well, that played up front that day. He again is another product of Dinamo Zagreb. They're two players that I'm sure are going to excite us next summer in the championships. Little Rosicky at Arsenal, who's now beginning to find his feet, I think, in the Premiership. I think he had a difficult introduction, getting used to the tempo and the intensity of which is English football. He's really shown his class now. He's got better ability getting around the pitch, and obviously for the Czech Republic, who have produced one or two players of their own down the years, he's an outstanding player. Rossina of Torino. He's not with one of the more fashionable clubs in Italy, but he's another one that could be very interesting if he was to break through into the Italian national side. Been big changes there, as you know. New coach Roberto Donadoni, a former great of the great Milan side in the 80s and 90s. He's now the coach, and he's had to really change a lot of the personnel that have since retired, having won the World Cup. Martinez, who plays for Bilbao, he's a Basque, playing for Athletic Bilbao in Spain. He's another Spanish product who could quite well light up the tournament next season. Spain, as you know, are not very good travellers. They always seem to fail a bit like England really, when it comes to the major championships. They always seem to qualify quite comfortably, but when it comes to the championships, for one reason or another, they never seem to produce. And just a little mention for an old mate of mine, Thomas Hitzelsberger, who I had at Villa 4 or 5 years ago, has since gone back to Germany. You might have seen him sporadically during the World Cup last season, when he played for the national team in Germany. He didn't. I think he started 2 of the games, but came on a sub in about 3 of them last year, and we saw that magical left foot that he's got, can score goals from any distance. And he too is having a very good season again this year for Stuttgart, who of course won the German Championship last season. So Thomas could be one to look out for next summer, but it's disappointing that England are not going to be there. But if you can bear to turn on the TV and watch it next summer, I'm sure it's going to be very exciting.
Well, some good names there to put in all of our Championship manager teams as we play throughout next summer and perhaps take our mind off the tournament. John, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.